Well, yesterday you would have heard in the big story that we're entering right now. You'd have heard from Dr. Rupert Francis, who spoke about the demonstration that he and his colleagues, including Wilfred Rattigan, would have planned and executed outside of the Jamaican consulate in Manhattan in New York City. And whilst that was going on, there was also a counter-protest taking place, and that was led by my guest this morning, Dr. Clovis Nelson. He spearheaded that counter-protest, and we are very, very pleased and happy to have him join us at this time. Good morning, Dr. Nelson. How are you today?
Good morning, my brother. I'm fine, thank you.
Glad to have you on the program. I spoke to you off air earlier. You sound up, alive, and kicking, and ready, and as they would say, rearing to go.
You got that right. Got that right.
You had your coffee already, I take it.
Yes, man. My coffee is down, and the wind is good and cool here in South Florida.
All right. And there are no protesters across from you where you sit right now.
Where I'm at right now, it's all Mother Nature doing her thing.
All right. Now, on a serious note, Dr. Nelson, I want to ask you right off the bat, what prompted you to organize that counter-protest against the main demonstration that was being led by Dr. Francis and Mr. Rattigan?
It came from the depth of my heart, Richie B, and the love that I have for my country. I just could not sit back and watch a group of misled individuals or individuals with alternative, reasons than what they try to project out there to drag our national flag and the emblem of Jamaica in the gutters of a foreign land. I did not really organize a protest contest, I made it clear to individuals that I will be out there standing up for brand Jamaica in the midst of all of that. And whoever will, free to join. And, a couple of persons came and stood with me in the rain and the cold.
When you say a couple, are you talking about 3, 4? Because I heard estimates of about 9 or 12 in some instances.
No, we had about 11 strong.
Okay.
But 11 strong, we had outnumbered their maximum by my estimation and my, recollection of what I saw they had there. After several months of planning, they had just about 150 people. They keep talking about 300 and 200 nonsense. The most they had out there, Richie B, is about 150 people, and I'm being very gracious when I say 150.
Okay. I want you to elaborate somewhat, if you will, on your stance that the main demonstration was politically driven.
Well, I draw my conclusion on some very basic principles. Because if you have a serious grouch with your country or with a sovereign nation that you think is so bad that need to get world attention, there are some portals that are available to you at your disposal that you can use that would bring the matter square and fair in the face of the International Council that deals with issues of that kind. And if you fail to follow those basic protocols or steps, then it simply means that you have an ulterior motive to be doing what you're doing. And I have noticed a lot of persons in the crowd that I know personally that are supportive of the opposition. And I know that the bloggers that were there with them, that follows them around, refused to come across the line where we were to request any kind of interview from us or to get our views of the situation. So my conclusion there is based on some very basic observations.
So were you there particularly to represent as a Jamaican or in support of the government? And are you of the view that the demonstrators who were across from you at that location were more so supportive of the People's National Party. Is that your view?
Yes. I am adamant that 90% of those who were there, perhaps more, were supportive of the People's National Party, and based on their mannerism, based on their methodology, it also seems that they're getting some kind of sponsorship or support to be doing what they're doing. Now, I was out there, Richie.
Yes.
As a Jamaican, a caring Jamaican, a conscientious Jamaican, standing up for brand Jamaica. That was my primary reason. And as I said earlier, there is no real reason for you to be out there throwing your tantrum, because the government of Jamaica, who you try to engage, with your views on how national security should be handled, the government looked at your proposal. They are working with some of the ideas that you put forward. They did not accept everything gullibly. And because of that, you are upset with them to the point where you're going to go in the streets of a foreign land to try to disgrace the government and your country. Something is wrong with that.
Some critics would argue that labeling the main demonstration as political undermines its legitimacy. How do you respond to that?
They can say whatever they want to say, Richie. But as I try to outline my reason for drawing my conclusion, they need to dispute that, because they can't. As I said earlier, if you are in your country and you are an organized group of people, disgruntled group of people, with a serious argument to put against your country and your government, then you should seek the international portals that are there to support such grouses, such as requests for humanitarian intervention. You could ask for that from the international arena. You could simply ask for international mediation. And if your argument that you put together makes sense and have some substance to it, then international mediation would be coming at you. But let me tell you something, Richie, why they could not even go through those portals that I just listed. Because they do not have an argument. The very government that they're licking out against, as we would say it, in simple terms, is a government that is currently working to address some of the very issues that they're talking about. It's a government that is working hand in hand with the entities across the United States that deals with national security, that deals with cyber crime, that deals with crime on a whole, which by the way, we are facing the crime on the whole that we are facing, Richie. It's a hemispheric problem, not a Jamaica problem. Yes, we have crimes in Jamaica, and yes, we need to work on the crime in Jamaica. But why are you trying to throw away the bath water with the baby? And the fact that the government is working with the CIA and the FBI, MI6, and other crime-fighting units across the international sphere, which you should be aware of. Where is the base of your argument? If not a political push.
If you could get the ears of the leaders of government here in Jamaica, what specific actions do you believe you'd recommend really to the Jamaican government in terms of addressing some of the concerns that are raised or were raised by these demonstrators?
Richie, the Jamaican government is already addressing 90%, 95%, or if not all of those concerns that were raised. Give and take a few of those concerns that are really baseless, have no merit. Because if they're going to talk about SSL and the people who've lost money through SSL, and they're going to blame it as a government problem, something is wrong with these guys. They don't have their logic right. Because SSL is a private entity, right? And once SSL scandal or the issue broke loose, the government stepped forward, as it should, as is the case in any democratic state, to address the problem. People, persons are in prison because of that. The people who lost money are getting back their monies, and the measures are in place to help the people who have lost money to SSL to retrieve their monies, and discipline and justice dispensed accordingly. So how does that fit as an indictment against the government? Nonsensical.
If you just join us, we're talking here with Dr. Clovis Nelson. Dr. Nelson, I want to ask you this now. In terms of strategies, as we try to foster unity and collaboration within the Jamaican diaspora, how do you see us moving forward? Are you personally going to be having dialogue with the other side, so to speak? Is there any plan so to do? Will you be following them around? Because they did say they're planning another one for, I think, Washington, D.C. and other parts within the United States of America. What are the strategies that you hope to employ going forward?
It is my hope, Richie, that these guys come to their senses and realize that all they're trying to do, and they're not being very successful with it, because on both occasions so far in Miami, they did not get the kind of attention they thought they were going to get. All they attracted was some PNPs. In New York, it was the same thing. All they attracted was some PNPs, maybe more than what they got in Miami. But there were no major news media from the international press. There was no major covering from the international press because they have no foundations on which they're standing. And the United States, Richie B, let me point this out, is not holy ground when it comes to the issues that they are pushing. What makes them think that they're standing on holy ground to be projecting their grudges? Let me tell you this. It is only admirable, I must say, if we could come together as Jamaicans in the diaspora, stand up for our country, keep our national flag from the gutters. When I was a Boy Scout, the fundamental thing we were taught is never let the flag hit the ground. And that is symbolic in many ways. You have a problem with your country, try and find a way to deal with it without going into the street and throwing a tantrum like a 2-year-old whose mother just pull away the candy and say, no more candy for the day. We have to think along a different line. We have to think nation first, country first. That's why our motto, Richie B, says what it says. Right? Our national motto is very clear. And people need to go and read the national motto, pay attention to those words. Where patriotism is concerned, every Jamaican needs to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace. Work together diligently. Think generously and honestly so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in the advancing the welfare of the whole human race. We have to come together as Jamaicans, home and abroad, and know the meaning of those words. Read them, research them, understand what they mean when it comes to the protection of our country, Jamaica land we love. It is not nonsensical to be going out there trying to disgrace your country on what I consider to be misleading information and petty grouses. This is what they're doing. If they want to work with myself and other persons in the diaspora who are patriotic Jamaicans, who will not be doing Jamaica disjustice anywhere, then they need to make the effort to do that. If they seriously want to get to the bottom of what they consider to be their problem, the government is open for dialogue if the dialogue makes sense. They already put their argument to the government. The government is using some of their ideas. As I speak, I know this of a fact. Let me tell you, I was a part of the Rupert's crime task force, and I was a member of the task force. Right? So I know a lot of what they have and where they're coming from. But if you are not willing to look into yourselves as an organization or a group and realize how much you're trying to damage brand Jamaica, even though unsuccessfully, then it means that you have an ulterior motive.
All right, we're hearing there from Dr. Clovis Nelson. I'm still listening. I'm still a little concerned as to whether or not that collaborative spirit, that spirit of unity, will be, brought to the fore between yourself and shall we say, the other team. And I really want to ask in closing, what do you envision as the ideal outcome or resolution regarding the concerns that these folks have?
I envision that they will continue to be ignored. The audience that they're seeking, they will not attract that audience simply on the grounds that they do not have anything that is substantive. And as I said earlier, the government of the United States, Canada, and England are working with the government of Jamaica. They are working together to address international crime problems that, as I said earlier, is a hemispheric concern, not a Jamaica problem. They are working together to stem out gang-related crimes, gangs that are sharing borders, gangs that are working in England, in the U.S., and also in Jamaica, Haiti, and Latin America. Richie, the big thing here that we need to pay attention to is that the United States, there's an ethical argument to be made to America to stop sending hardened criminals to Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. Guys who might have been born in Jamaica, went abroad to live with their parents, have families there, live their lives there, commit crimes there, and then you're sending them back to the country of their birth that they don't even know to cause. And most of the chaos that we're having here in crime is as a result of these guys. There's an ethical argument that Francis and his team should be making to America, should be talking to the Congress about. What can you do, Uncle Sam, to help Jamaica with this problem of which you are a party to? You sending these guys back to Jamaica, they make up 5% of the crime statistics in the country. The serious crimes that we're having in Jamaica can be traced right back to deportees and their affiliates. What are you going to do about this, America? Can you revisit your deportation policies? Why don't you put in place measures to help these guys who have committed crimes in your country, even though they were born in Jamaica? They have no life in Jamaica. Some of them have no relatives in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Yet you're sending them here into a third world country that is struggling to build its economic platform.
I think
something is wrong right there.
I think a very important part of the mix should also be what Uncle Sam can do to reduce the flow of guns.
The flow of guns and contraband into the country.
Yes.
That was my argument when I stood up in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly my argument right there, Richard.
Yeah.
Those are the things that they should be protesting about. Don't try to tear down the government that is obviously working so hard and has taken Jamaica from a very bad economic place to where it's at right now. Jamaica is looking at Vision 2030. So far, a lot of pieces of that vision has been implemented, will continue to be implemented, and will only require time to be fulfilled. So why are you now so adamant to tear down the government of Jamaica? You cannot tell me any time in our history that we've had a government that has accomplished so much economically and otherwise. Yes, we have more work to do, and crime is one of them. But stand with the government, help the government to... Let me tell you one more piece before I leave. There is a demagogue, Richie B, and I'm not afraid to say this. There is a demagogue on the other side of the political aisle in Jamaica who will stop at anything to get what he wants.
Let me ask you, have you made your own political persuasions known and your affiliations?
Yes, I have, and I proudly did so. I'm not attached to a political office, but my political position has nothing to do with my love for my country and my patriotism for my country at any level of my life or stage.
Dr. Nelson.
And they're trying to make it to be an issue.
Yes. I want to thank you. We've extended the time just to allow you to complete your points. I want to thank you for coming on this morning, and we definitely will be talking again soon. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
One love, Richie.
All right. All the best to you.